I want to start with something that happened to me recently. I was on my phone, I was scrolling and going through Instagram, and then I found myself feeling so drained and left behind compared to the people I was comparing myself to. If you've gone through this experience, you know what it's like to find yourself mindlessly comparing your journey to someone else's journey when you know nothing about their background, their experiences, or how they got to where they got to. Today's video is all about the comparison cycle and how it's so easy for us to find ourselves caught up in it. Hi, I'm Deveshi Kumar. I'm a mental performance coach and I work with founders, athletes, and high performers in general, helping them transform their mindsets, perform better, and thrive. I do that in a couple of ways through one on one coaching, workshops, as well as content around neuroscience, mindset, and high performance. Going back to the topic for today's video, let's talk a little bit about why this comparison cycle occurs, how you can identify it, what are a couple of traps you can find yourself stuck in, and then obviously how do you move past that to live a happier, healthier, and more fulfilling life rather than constantly comparing yourself to everyone else. So, if you find yourself stuck in the comparison cycle, you need to understand that you're constantly comparing yourself to someone else when you have no idea what their individual experiences were like, what challenges they faced to get to that place, what obstacles they had to overcome. And you're seeing a version of themselves that they have projected and made very appealing for you to compare yourself to. What I mean by that is, in the age of social media, we have so much access to information. We know details about strangers' lives that we probably wouldn't know 10, 15 years ago because not everyone was sharing everything so openly. And that makes it harder for us to differentiate between what is actually real information and what is just manufactured to make us feel bad about ourselves. Now, comparing yourself to someone else is human. It's human nature, it's social comparison, and you're constantly comparing yourself to an idealized version of someone else and feeling bad about who you are. What that does on a neuroscientific level is it makes you feel worse about yourself. So your self esteem takes a dip, your cortisol, which is your stress hormone, tends to rise, and you end up feeling like you're lacking or there's something wrong with you. And the way to combat that is to firstly pause. That's the first step. Pausing and asking yourself the question, am I comparing myself to someone to make me feel better about myself, or is it going to make me feel worse about myself? And usually it'll always be the latter. You'll find that after comparing yourself to someone on another journey, you're ending up taking a dip in your self-confidence and your self-esteem. But you also don't want to reach a place where you isolate everyone and don't compare your journey to someone else's to know what you can do better. So, in terms of the traps that you can find yourself in, it's the identity trap where you feel like the person you are and your identity is not worthy of recognition versus someone else's identity. And the way to combat that is to understand that everyone is on an individual journey. So, as a mental performance coach, I may face many different challenges and obstacles compared to you, who might be working in a corporate job or might be doing some other role. It's important to realize that not everyone has the same identity, so they might not be facing the same challenges, obstacles, uh, or a day in their life will not be the same as your day in your life. So it's important to recognize that. Secondly, it's the feeling that you're not good enough trap. So when you find yourself comparing your day one to someone else's day 100, you tend to feel like you're not good enough. What your achievements are, what you have already done, is not worthy of recognition. So realizing that it's not going to be the same. No two people are on the same linear path and they don't have the same destination or the same journey to get there. Realizing that is super important. Also, when you're comparing yourself to someone else, it's important to recognize that you don't only have to look at what they have that you don't, but you can also look at what are some qualities that you can take from them. If you're only looking at it from a lens of, okay, this is so good, they have so much money, they have world tours that they're going on, they've raised capital, they've done these different things that I want to do as well. That's a good indicator that your brain wants you to recognize that it's possible for you somewhere in the future. So, what can you extract from them in terms of learning and adopt and apply that to your own journey? What I mean by that is, if I'm looking at someone who's 10 years ahead of me in my field, what can I learn from them that I can use today to just get 1% better at my skill or my craft? It's very important for you to realize that the more you do this, the easier it will become for you to identify skills and character traits that you want to adopt as well. And the more you do this, the more your brain will recognize that it's good that you're comparing yourself rather than looking at it from a lens of I'm not good enough or my self esteem is taking a dip. That being said, it's going to be hard for you to understand that not every comparison that you do is going to be beneficial for you. So when you find yourself stuck in that trap, step one is to pause. Step two is ask yourself this question: if they are even in the same geography, same location, do they have the same lifestyle as you? Are they in the same city as you? These different questions help your brain understand that, okay, clearly they're not in the same pathway or not in the same journey of life as you, which makes it easier for you to understand that maybe this comparison isn't the best thing right now. Maybe I need to pause and just go back to living my own life rather than being so consumed by how they are living and get stuck in that trap. That being said, in general, it's hard to not do this because as human beings, when we were in our tribes and in our ancestral lineage, our self-worth and our hierarchy was based on how much we could contribute in the tribe. So obviously you feel that the more you can put out, the more productive you are, the happier your life looks on social media, the more your self-worth is and the more your standing is in society. But one day you'll wake up and realize that no one was competing with you. No one cared as much as you think they did. And you wasted your time thinking and performing for people who weren't even watching in the first place. I think for me, a big one has been to realize that you're not performing for an audience. Like, this is not supposed to be some sort of metric where people are going to care about how many followers you have, how much money you have, how many luxury cars you own, or how many cities you travel to in a year. It's more about what is the impact that you can create. And trust me when I tell you, some of the most successful and happy people that I know are actually very comfortable living their lives in solitude and not constantly comparing themselves to everyone else. Also, the happiest people you'll meet in life will give you so much positive energy, and they usually aren't even competing with you in the first place. The Not the worst, but the most interesting type of people I've met in my life have been those that have been secretly competing with me and not made it obvious until we reached a circumstance where it became very obvious that they were competing with me rather than with themselves. And I'll always stress on the point that you shouldn't be competing with everyone else. The only comparison that's worth making is who you are today versus who you were yesterday. If you've gotten 1% better at becoming a better individual, and that could look different for each person, then you know you've made progress and you're moving in the right direction. So that was the main crux of today's video, to help you understand what comparison is, why it's so normal for us to get caught in that trap and then just find ourselves stuck there. It's also very important to be aware of the fact that we're engaging in this comparison cycle, pick ourselves out of it, and then look at it from another lens and try to extract what is the best you can get from that situation. If you want to watch more of my videos, please go on YouTube. I'm also active on LinkedIn and Instagram, and I have a one-on-one coaching program, which is 12 weeks long. That link will be down below. Yeah, any thoughts, any comments are most welcome. Please, I'm more open to feedback and what you'd like to see more of. And I'll see you next week. Thank you.